Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Basically, we are talking about the software company has done ban basically to that particular guy. Basically, they applied the ban to that particular guy. Basically, so basically here basically we are talking about that how one software company union basically how basically set of software companies basically has become one and how basically they have done the entire management level plan basically you can say. So basically if I say that this thing basically which I am discussing that is basically can become one of the case study for the for the colleges basically because for the college like Harvard University basically they basically take each and every case study basically that this is the case number and this is the case study. For that basically they required live data, and for that basically they takes in this case they use this case basically then basically they takes case in their book uh, then only basically when basically the case is live basically. If the case is live and this has happened, then only they take the cases in their book basically. So it's a rules basically. If you are taking any cases in your books basically, that example should be live basically. Live basically means this might have happened. So this incidents basically has happened basically in your in this basically century basically you can say in this century this incident must have happened. So basically then only basically you can take the case study basically in your book basically in your management book basically this is one of the management study also you can say basically you can reason basically one person is not getting job, he's getting banned from the Indian software company. It's basically one of the case study of Indian software company also you can say. Indian human resource also you can say. Basically how human resource, how Indian software companies basically do bans basically. And how basically this is supported by Indian governments, how this is supported by high courts, how this is supported by Supreme Courts. So basically, this all contains in this case study. Basically, this is basically one of the circle. Basically, you can say circle of the Indian government. Basically, again repeating, it's not entire software company. It's basically few software companies basically. But here I am telling Indian software company. So basically, I can't give the name of the software companies. Basically, who has given torture to that guy, so that's why basically here I'm taking Indian software company and Indian human resource. So basically they have given the torture and this basically incidents each and everything is already happened basically you can say this is basically before Corona basically before COVID basically this all incident has happened basically you can say. So basically the Corona came in 2019 basically. So basically this incident has happened long before basically before Corona basically you can say. So basically here basically we are talking about that incidents basically that case study basically you can say. So basically I can give a name to case study this case study is 1201521 basically I can give this case number basically. So the case number is case number 1201521 basically. So this case number I am taking as an example basically here for this video basically the case on for the Harvard University or any of the university basically. For this video basically I'm talking about basically that is basic case number is 1201521 basically that basically is the one of the live example of how basically Indian software company do the ban and how the Indian human resource company basically do the ban and how they give the torture up to the level basically that that particular person basically reaches to the ICU, and that also his head gets damaged, his hand gets damaged, and that also basically they are using the softwares basically. And this basically many less people basically might be knowing that you can damage your hand and you can damage software can damage your hands and software can damage your heads also basically many less, but it's a long process basically. If basically your hand or your head is getting damaged, That means this process might have done, they might be done, software companies and human resource basically with the approval of High Court and Supreme Court, they might be doing since many months basically. It's not a 1 or 2 day process basically to damage any body parts basically. That also head basically and hand basically to damage this each and every parts basically, it takes months basically. And that also each and every day basically you have to take the approval of High Courts and Supreme Courts. If the head and damage is damaged, that means this is approved by the head and approved by the Supreme Court and High Court basically. Reason if any of the softwares is touching your human body parts and anything is getting damaged, or if basically there are many softwares basically here basically I will discuss one more thing. Basically there are two parts of software basically, one is negativity and another is positivity. So negativity software basically are those software basically who basically damage your body parts, and positivity who basically uh, repairs your damaged body parts basically. So basically there are many basically softwares basically who damage your body, and there are many software basically they don't damage your body and they do a treatment of repairing basically of your body. For example, your hand is not properly working then damaged due to some software basically, nobody will believe basically that software can damage your hand or your head basically. But this has happened, that also through Lava Mobile and through Geo SIM basically. Even basically Geo and Lava also might not have tracked this. I don't know whether basically it's this might, because through this only this has happened basically. That is 100% sure, because there is no other roadmap basically of because if you want to damage any body parts, then electronic parts is must basically. Because I will take one example, how all the buildings in each and every cities are in straight position, and how they are in the standing position. That is through power supply, the power supply which is getting passed through the city basically. If I say that the around us basically there are set of power supplies, then basically nobody will believe this basically. Yes, there are set of power supplies basically which near around our buildings. Due to that power supply our buildings are in standing position. So basically this is like that only basically, the like that basically through set of roadmaps basically the data might have passed to damage the body parts and to damage the head parts basically. And this was already damaged, and this which I am discussing, that is already done basically long day before, long month before, basically long year before basically you can say. So the topic has reached to this level that the person's body was damaged, and previously basically his body was damaged, and then basically he was getting torture up to that level basically that he was not getting interview calls also basically. If interview calls are getting, then basically he is giving interview for 4 to 5 hours, 4 to 5, more than 4 to 5 hours. Then basically he's telling, he's getting information like this basically, that you are going to get the offer letter, just sit outside, we are preparing the offer letter. Then basically suddenly calls comes from the political groups, and the political group says that your political group says that we are going to offer you 100 crore rupees to the software company basically. And the software company is telling, okay, that's okay, we are taking the offer, taking the 100 crore, and we are going to throw that, we are going to destroy that offer letter which we have prepared for that particular guy basically. Like this basically his offer letter also was basically thrown in the dustbin. And like this basically he was sent back to the his place, that is Vadodara city. He was basically from Vadodara city. That guy basically, the story which I am talking about. Up to what level torture basically he has done. He has basically, one example also I have given here. That is of Vidyakun school basically. How in Vidyakun school he was a first rank holder. And from the torture basically started from that Vidyakun school only. How basically Vidyakun school entire management become one, how the student become one, and given the torture to that poor guy basically. Reason basically I'm telling about the students here basically, why is basically after he left the after he left the Vidyakunj, Basically few his friends basically were not talking to him also. Basically they were not giving properly answer. That means it is confirmed that the school management has told each and every student basically that you are not supposed to talk to him, and you are not supposed to um, talk to him basically, and not supposed to give him answer. Basically reason is we have fired him from the school. Basically that is basically from English medium school. Basically that time basically English medium school basically union was there. Just see, basically there was no technology then also. The entire school was knowing that this particular person is not supposed to get the admission in Vidyagun school basically. Sorry, in English medium school basically. So he was studying in Vidyagun school, and he got the that type of letter that you are not proper, you are failed from the Vidyagun school, and you are failed from the English medium school also. The first rank English medium person in Vidyagunj, he was failed. You can believe this? No, basically. So here basically we are stopping this topic basically. In next video basically we are going to talk few more topic about the how basically he was banned.